The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched wider than any Earth stadium. Its walls curved upward into darkness, covered with stars that showed real-time views of 10,000 worlds. Each point of light represented a civilization, and today one of those lights flickered like a dying candle. Ambassador Chen Wei sat in the observer section, her hands folded in her lap. She wore a simple black suit, not the elaborate robes and armor that other species displayed. Around her, representatives from 50 different worlds whispered and pointed. Their voices sounded like wind through strange trees, like water over rocks, like sounds no human throat could make. The Zarathi commander stood at the center of the hall. His species looked like massive beetles walking upright, with shells that reflected purple and green in the artificial light. Commander Krexit spread his forearms wide, and the whispers stopped. "Earth has fallen," he announced. His translator turned his clicking sounds into flat, emotionless words that echoed through the hall. The holographic display above him came to life. It showed Earth as seen from space, but not the blue and green jewel humans knew. This Earth burned. Red dots marked where cities once stood. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, all showed as rubble. The space around the planet swarmed with Zarathi warships, their angular shapes blocking out the stars. After 93 Earth days of siege, the human homeworld surrendered 6 hours ago, Krext continued. Their primitive defenses could not match our plasma cannons. Their nuclear weapons bounced off our shields like pebbles off armor. Their space force of 200 vessels now drifts as debris between Earth and their moon. Chen Wei did not move. She did not even blink. Her dark eyes watched the display with the same expression she might wear watching paint dry. The Altarian delegate stood up. These beings looked almost human, except for their blue-tinted skin and 6 fingers on each hand. What of the human colonies? Mars, the moon settlements? The mining stations in the asteroid belt? Krexit's mandibles clicked in what his species considered laughter. All communication with Earth has ceased. Without their homeworld, the colonies will surrender within days. They have no food production, no manufacturing base. They are already dead. They simply do not know it yet. More delegates rose to speak. The Vegan Confederacy wanted to claim Earth's solar system for its strategic position. The Druv Empire argued they should have rights to Earth's water. The machine intelligence called the Synthesis requested access to Earth's information networks and historical databases. Chen Wei watched them divide her world like vultures over a corpse. Still, she did not speak. The humans brought this on themselves, Krexit said. When they refused to submit to Zarathi protection, when they rejected our generous offer to become a client species, they chose destruction. We offered them survival. They chose pride. The Galactic Council's speaker, an ancient creature that looked like a tree made of crystal, chimed from its platform. The matter seems settled. Earth is designated as fallen. Human territories are now open for claim under Statute 7 of the Conquest Codes. We will begin redistribution hearings in... Excuse me? Chen Wei's voice cut through the formal proceedings like a knife through silk. Every eye, sensory organ, and detection field turned toward her. The speaker's crystals rang with irritation. Observer Chen Wei, you do not have speaking privileges. Earth has fallen. Your species has no voice in this council. Chen Wei stood up. She was small compared to most species in the hall. The Zarathi stood 3 meters tall. The Altarians averaged 2.5. Even the insectoid cliques were larger than humans. But somehow her presence filled the space around her. I apologize for the interruption, she said, though her tone suggested no apology at all. I simply wanted to confirm that Commander Krext is certain Earth has fallen. Krext's shell rattled with amusement. Little human, I stood on the bridge of my flagship as your cities burned. I watched your military bases turn to glass. I received your government's surrender personally. Yes, Earth has fallen. You received a surrender document? Chen Wei asked. Of course. Your world president sent it 6 hours ago. Standard surrender terms. Unconditional capitulation. Request for mercy for civilian populations. Krext waved a dismissive claw. The usual begging of the defeated. Chen Wei nodded slowly. And you read this document carefully? The commander's 4 eyes narrowed. What game do you play, human? Yes, I read it. My staff analyzed it. It followed all proper protocols for planetary surrender. Every line? Chen Wei pressed. Around the hall, delegates began to murmur. Why was this human pushing the point? Earth had fallen. Everyone could see it on the displays. The evidence floated in space around the planet. The speaker's crystals chimed sharply. Observer Chen, you try our patience. Earth has fallen. Accept your species' fate with dignity, or be removed from this hall. Chen Wei reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out a small data pad. I have a copy of the surrender document here. Perhaps Commander Krext would like to review it once more. In the interest of proper protocol. Krext's mandibles clicked angrily, but he could not refuse without seeming careless. In the Galactic Council, protocol mattered more than weapons. He snatched the pad from Chen Wei's hand with one of his claws. See? Standard surrender, he said, reading aloud. We, the United Governments of Earth, acknowledge defeat at the hands of the Zarathi Empire. We surrender all defensive positions. We cease all hostile actions. We request terms for survival of our species. He looked up triumphantly. Exactly as I said. Please continue to the end, Chen Wei said quietly. Krext's eyes rolled in different directions, a sign of annoyance in his species. He continued reading silently, his translation device occasionally clicking as it processed the human text. The hall grew quiet, waiting. Suddenly, all four of Krext's eyes snapped to focus on the pad. His shell changed color, shifting from purple-green to a dull brown. His claws trembled slightly. What does it say? Demanded the Altarian delegate. Krext did not answer. He read the line again. Then again, the speaker chimed impatiently. Commander Krext, what is the issue? Chen Wei spoke instead. Perhaps I can help. The last line of the document is quite small. Easy to miss, written in several Earth languages to ensure clarity. Would you like me to read it for the Council? Krext's throat made a sound his translator could not process. Chen Wei took this as agreement. The last line says, she began, her voice carrying clearly through the sudden silence. Phase 1 of Operation Honeypot. Complete. Initiating Phase 2. The hall erupted. Delegates jumped up, shouting in dozens of languages. The universal translators struggled to keep up, creating a chaos of overlapping voices. What does that mean? What is Honeypot?
What is Phase 2?
This must be a human trick. Scan Earth again. Check the surrender document. Through it all, Chen Wei stood quietly, the small data pad still glowing in her hands. She waited for the noise to die down, her face showing the same calm expression she had worn while they divided up her dead world. The speaker's crystals rang so loudly that several delegates covered their hearing organs. Silence. When the hall quieted, the speaker focused on Chen Wei. Explain yourself, human. What is this message? Chen Wei smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. It was the smile of someone holding cards in a game where everyone else thought the deck was already played. Honored speaker, distinguished delegates. Commander Krext, she said, bowing slightly to each. I believe you have all made an error. A very natural error, but an error nonetheless. She paused, letting the tension build. You assumed Earth had fallen. You assumed our cities were destroyed. You assumed our fleet was debris. She looked directly at Krext. You assumed you won. Krext found his voice. We did win. The evidence is there. Look at the displays. Earth burns. Chen Wei nodded. Yes, something burns. Something that looks like Earth. Something that convinced you completely. She tilted her head. Have any of you actually landed on Earth's surface during this conquest? The silence that followed was answer enough. Orbital bombardment only, Chen Wei continued. No ground troops. No direct contact. Just shooting at what you could see from space at what your sensors told you was there. The implications began to sink in. Several delegates called for immediate sensor sweeps for confirmation teams for communication with the Zarathi fleet. But Chen Wei was not finished. 93 days, she said. You gave us 93 days to prepare, to watch, to learn. Every weapon you fired, we analyzed. Every shield frequency you used, we recorded. Every tactic you employed, we studied. She looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of every species that had been so eager to claim Earth's resources. Phase 1 is complete, she said. Now shall we discuss Phase 2? The Galactic Council Hall descended into chaos. Delegates shouted over each other, demanding answers, calling for scans, arguing about protocol. The universal translators struggled to keep up, turning the noise into a painful mix of languages and sounds. Commander Krext slammed his heavy claw on his podium. The bang echoed through the hall like thunder. This is ridiculous. A human trick, a desperate lie from a defeated species. He turned to his aide, a smaller Zarathi who had been standing in the shadows. Contact our fleet immediately. Confirm Earth status. The aide worked frantically at a communication panel, his forearms moving in different directions. After a moment, he looked up, his shell turning pale. Commander, I cannot reach the fleet. What do you mean you cannot reach them? Crexit's voice carried a dangerous edge. The communication channels are open, but there is no response. Not from a single ship. The speaker's crystals chimed sharply. Order, we will have order. The ancient being focused on Chen Wei. Human ambassador, you claim this is some kind of deception. The council demands proof. We have all seen the images. We have seen Earth burning. Chen Wei remained standing, her posture relaxed. Honored speaker, you have seen what we wanted you to see. May I use the central display to show you something? The speaker hesitated. Giving control of the council's main display to a representative of a supposedly fallen world broke numerous protocols. But the situation had already shattered normal procedures. Proceed, the speaker said finally. But know that if this is merely delay or deception, humanity will face consequences beyond mere conquest. Chen Wei connected her datapad to the display system. The image of burning Earth flickered and changed. Now it showed the same view, but overlaid with technical readouts and analysis data. This is Earth as your sensors see it, Chen Wei explained. Notice the heat signatures from the burning cities. She touched her pad, and the display zoomed in on what appeared to be the ruins of New York. Very convincing, yes? But look closer, the image magnified further. The flames became pixels, then patterns of light and energy. Holographic projectors, Chen Wei said simply. 12,000 of them, placed in orbit around Earth 3 years ago. Disguised as communication satellites, weather monitors, space debris. Each one capable of creating images that fool both visual and thermal sensors. The Altarian delegate stood up, his blue skin flushing purple with anger. Impossible. The energy requirements alone would be massive, yes, Chen Wei agreed. Unless you knew exactly what sensors to fool. Unless you had 93 days to study exactly how Zarathi scanning technology works. She smiled. Every shot they fired at our cities told us more about their targeting systems. Every scan they performed taught us about their sensors. She changed the display again. This time it showed a cross-section of Earth itself. The real Earth, she said, looks like this. Gasps echoed through the hall. Beneath Earth's surface, massive structures spread like roots. Cities, factories, transportation networks all built deep underground. The surface showed as empty, abandoned, with only automated systems maintaining the illusion of normal activity. We started moving underground 7 years ago, Chen Wei explained. Slowly, carefully, a few thousand people at a time. We maintained surface activity with drones and holograms while our real population relocated. Lies, Krex shouted. My scans penetrated deep into your planet. We would have seen this. Your scans penetrated exactly as deep as we allowed them to, Chen Wei replied. Another thing we learned from watching you. Your deep scan technology relies on specific frequencies. We lined our underground cities with a composite material that reflects those frequencies back, creating the illusion of solid rock. The Droof Empire representative, a being made entirely of interconnected metallic spheres, chimed in. Even if this is true, your space fleet was destroyed. We all saw the debris. Chen Wei touched her pad again. The display showed the space battle from 90 days ago. Human ships exploded one after another, torn apart by Zarathi weapons. Our fleet of 200 vessels, Chen Wei said. Old ships. Decommissioned hulls we were planning to scrap anyway. We filled them with recording equipment and explosive charges. Remotely piloted, of course, she paused, though we made sure to include enough biological material to make your scans register human life signs. Amazing what you can do with cloned tissue and artificial nervous systems. The hall fell silent as the implications sank in. If Earth's defeat was fake, if the human fleet destruction was staged, then where was humanity's real military? As if reading their thoughts, Chen Wei continued. You're wondering about our actual fleet. The truth is, we never built warships. Not in the traditional sense. She changed the display to show Earth's moon. What we built were mining vessels. Thousands of them. Small, fast, designed to extract minerals from asteroids. The image zoomed in on one of these vessels. It looked like nothing more than an industrial craft, ugly and functional. Of course, Chen Wei added, a mining laser that can cut through solid rock works equally well on ship hulls. A tractor beam designed to move asteroids can also move enemy vessels. And explosive charges meant for breaking apart mineral deposits have other uses too. Commander Krexit's communication aide interrupted with frantic clicking. Commander, I'm receiving reports from our supply lines. Multiple convoys under attack. The attackers appear to be mining vessels. Chenwei nodded. Phase 2 has been active for approximately 30 minutes. Your supply convoys were very predictable. Same routes, same schedules. We had 93 days to map them all. The display changed to show the Zerathi supply network. Red dots appeared along the routes marking attacks in progress. But this is not the interesting part, Chenwei said. The interesting part is what we learned from your technology. She brought up technical schematics that made several delegates step back in alarm. They recognized pieces of it. Zerathi shield generators, weapon systems, engine designs, but modified, combined in ways that should not work. Your shields are impressive, Chenwei admitted, but they have a frequency modulation that repeats every 12 seconds. Your weapons are powerful, but they leave a traceable energy signature that can be tracked back to the source. Your engines are fast, but they create a subspace ripple that can be detected from light years away. The Vegan Confederacy delegate, a plant-like being with crystalline leaves, rustled anxiously. You studied their technology while being attacked? While your world burned? While holograms of our world burned, Chenwei corrected. Every shot they fired was data. Every attack was a lesson. We had thousands of hidden sensors recording everything. Our quantum computers analyzed it all in real time. She paused, letting that sink in. We knew you were coming 3 years before you arrived. Your surprise invasion force was detected the moment you entered our outer system. We had time to prepare everything. The speaker's crystals rang with a different tone now, one of deep concern. If what you say is true, then Earth's entire surrender was theater, Chenwei finished. A performance. We needed to see your full capabilities. We needed you to commit your forces, to reveal your positions, to show us everything you could do. She looked directly at Krext. Commander, you said you received our surrender personally. Do you remember who delivered it? Krexit's 4 eyes narrowed. Your world president, Marcus Harrison. He spoke to me over communication channels. President Harrison died 2 years ago, Chenwei said quietly. Of natural causes. The man you spoke to was an artificial intelligence using his voice pattern. We have been using AI representatives for most official communications to maintain the illusion. The revelation sent another wave of shock through the hall. The synthesis, being a machine intelligence itself, processed this information with particular interest. You replaced your leadership with artificial constructs? Not replaced, Chenwei clarified. Augmented. Our real leadership has been coordinating from bunkers 3 kilometers beneath Earth's surface. But for surface-level interactions, yes, we used AI. It was safer than risking real humans. Krexit's shell had turned completely brown now, a sign of deep distress in his species. Even if all this is true, you cannot stand against the full might of the Zerathi Empire. We have 10,000 ships. We have conquered 100 worlds. Chenwei smiled again, that same unsettling expression. Commander, have you wondered why you still cannot contact your fleet around Earth? She changed the display one more time. It showed Earth surrounded by Zerathi ships just as before, but now small indicators appeared near each vessel. Your ships are fine, she assured him. Their crews are alive and unharmed, but their systems are sleeping. Sleeping? Multiple voices asked at once. A computer virus, Chenwei explained, transmitted through your own communication networks. It took us 60 days to design it, based on your system architecture. It does not damage anything. It simply puts all non-essential systems into standby mode. Your crews have life support, gravity, food systems, but no engines, no weapons, no communications. She looked around the hall. 10,000 ships, you said, all connected through your battle network? The virus should reach them all within 6 hours. The aide at Krext's side suddenly backed away from his communication panel as it began displaying strange symbols. Chenwei walked through the corridors of the Galactic Council station, her footsteps steady and unhurried. Behind her, she could hear the chaos continuing in the Great Hall. Shouts, demands, the sound of equipment failing. She did not look back. Her communication device, a small Earth-made unit that still functioned perfectly, buzzed quietly. She touched her earpiece. Ambassador Chen, a voice said. This is Admiral Singh. Phase 2 is proceeding as planned. Zerathi supply lines are cut. Their home fleet is beginning to respond but won't reach the affected areas for 40 hours. Understood, Admiral. Chenwei replied quietly. How many convoy captures? 17 so far. No casualties on either side. The mining vessels are performing exactly as Dr. Martinez predicted. The Zarathi escorts cannot target them effectively. Too small, too fast. Chen Wei allowed herself a small smile. And the colonists? Safe in the deep shelters. They're actually asking when they can return to the surface. Apparently, living underground for 2 years is getting boring. Soon, Chen Wei promised. Very soon. Back in the Great Hall, Commander Krext stood frozen at his podium, staring at his dead communication panel. Around him, other delegates were discovering that their own military channels had gone silent. Not damaged, not destroyed, just quiet. The speaker's crystals chimed urgently. We must restore order. This situation has escalated beyond acceptable parameters. The ancient being turned to where Chen Wei had been standing. Finding her gone, it focused on Krext. Commander, explain your actions. Did you verify Earth's defeat before announcing it to this council? Krext's shell shifted through several colors. We followed standard conquest protocols. Orbital bombardment, destruction of military assets, acceptance of surrender. But no ground confirmation, the Altarian delegate pressed. No landing parties. No direct verification. Their cities were burning. Krext protested. We saw them burn. You saw holograms burn. The Droof Empire representative corrected. If the human is telling the truth, the synthesis spoke up, its mechanical voice carrying across the hall. I have been analyzing the technical data the human displayed. The mathematics check out. Such a deception is theoretically possible, though the coordination required would be extraordinary. A new voice entered the conversation. The Kree delegate, a serpentine being with scales that shifted like oil on water, had been silent until now. I wish to share something with the Council, they said. 3 years ago, my government received an unusual request from Earth. They wanted to purchase obsolete holographic projectors. Thousands of them. We thought they were using them for entertainment purposes. The hall went quiet. We sold them the projectors, the Kree continued. They paid in rare minerals. It seemed a harmless transaction. The speaker's crystals rang with frustration. Are there any other species here who traded with Earth in the past 5 years? Speak now. Slowly, reluctantly, several appendages, tentacles, and other limbs rose around the hall. The Vegan Confederacy admitted selling them deep drilling equipment. The cliques had provided quantum processing cores. The Zenith Collective had traded educational databases on theoretical military tactics. Even the machine synthesis acknowledged providing Earth with advanced programming languages, though they had believed humans were too primitive to understand them fully. We all armed them, the Altarian delegate said slowly. We gave them the tools for this deception. Meanwhile, Chen Wei had reached the station's observation deck. Through the massive windows, she could see Earth in the distance. To anyone watching, it still appeared to burn. The holograms would continue for another day, maintaining the illusion. Her device buzzed again. This time, the voice belonged to President Martinez, the real leader of Earth, speaking from 3 kilometers beneath Montana. Ambassador, how did the Council take the revelation? About as well as expected, Madam President. Shock, anger, disbelief. They're starting to piece together how we did it. And Krexit, in shock. His entire species' reputation rests on this conquest. When it becomes known that they spent 3 months bombing holograms, they'll become the laughingstock of the galaxy. There was a pause. Then President Martinez spoke again. Chen, are you ready for part 3? The document? Yes. In about 10 minutes, Krext is going to actually read the full surrender document. When he does, Chen Wei smiled. When he does, he'll realize it's not our surrender at all. Back in the Great Hall, Krexit's aide had managed to restore one communication channel using backup power. A single message came through from the Zarathi homeworld. The aide's shell went pale as he read it. Commander, he said quietly, though in the silence of the hall everyone heard him. High Command is reporting multiple security breaches in our defense networks. Someone has been transmitting our shield frequencies and weapon specifications on open channels. Krexit spun around. What? Who? The transmissions are coming from Earth, sir. They're broadcasting our military secrets to anyone who will listen. The implications hit the room like a physical force. If Earth had the Zarathi military codes, if they were sharing them openly, then the Zarathi Empire's military advantage over dozens of species had just evaporated. The speaker chimed loudly. This is unprecedented. Earth is distributing military intelligence freely. At that moment, Chen Wei's image appeared on the restored display. She had clearly planned this timing perfectly. "Members of the Galactic Council," she said, "by now you've noticed that we are transmitting Zarathi military specifications on all open channels. This information includes shield frequencies, weapon specifications, engine vulnerabilities, and communication protocols." Krext roared in rage. "You cannot do this. Those are military secrets. The Council has laws. The Council's laws protect member species," Chenwei interrupted. "Earth is not a member. We were denied membership 3 times in the past decade. You said we were too primitive, too violent, too unpredictable." She paused. "Perhaps you were right about the unpredictable part." She continued, "However, we are not unreasonable. The transmissions will stop as soon as Commander Krext reads the full surrender document, the real one, not the summary his aides prepared." Krexit grabbed the datapad he had thrown aside earlier. This time he read past the first page, past the surrender announcement to the detailed terms below. His 4 eyes widened as he read. This is not a surrender," he said slowly. "No," Chenwei agreed. "It's a treaty. Our terms for ending hostilities." "Read it aloud," the speaker commanded. Krexit's mandibles clicked nervously, but he complied. "Terms for cessation of conflict between Earth and the Zarathi Empire. Article 1. The Zarathi Empire will immediately withdraw all forces from Earth's solar system. Article 2. The Zarathi Empire will pay reparations for the 93-day disruption of Earth's normal activities, calculated at..." He paused. 500 million credits per day. Gasps echoed through the hall. That sum would bankrupt smaller empires. Article 3, Krext continued, his voice getting quieter. The Zarathi Empire will formally apologize for attempting to conquer a peaceful world without proper cause. Article 4. Earth will retain all captured Zarathi technology and vessels for study and reverse engineering. Article 5. The Zarathi Empire will support Earth's application for full membership in the Galactic Council. He looked up. "This is absurd." "We are the conquerors. You cannot dictate terms to us." Chenwei's image smiled. "Commander, you conquered holograms. You defeated decommissioned ships. Your fleet around Earth is currently powerless, depending on our goodwill for their life support to continue functioning. Your supply lines are cut. Your military secrets are being broadcast across the galaxy. Tell me, who exactly is conquered here?" The Altarian delegate stood. "Ambassador Chen, these terms seem excessive." "Do they?" Chenwei asked. "The Zarathi attacked us without provocation. They attempted to destroy our world. They stood in this very hall and divided our resources among themselves. These terms are merciful. We could demand much more, such as," the speaker asked, "complete disarmament of the Zarathi fleet, surrender of all their colonies, dissolution of their empire." Chenwei's expression hardened. "These are the terms the commander was prepared to impose on us. We are simply asking for compensation and recognition." She paused, then added, "Oh, and there's Article 6. Krext looked down at the pad again. His shell turned almost white. "Article 6. The Zarathi Empire will transport, at their expense, any Earth citizens who wish to visit other worlds as tourists, researchers, or traders." "We're curious about the galaxy," Chenwei explained. "We'd like to explore it. Since the Zarathi insisted on introducing themselves to us so dramatically, they can help us meet everyone else under better circumstances." The synthesis processed this for 0.003 seconds. "You want them to be your taxi service?" "Cultural exchange program," Chenwei corrected. "Very educational for both sides." Krext slammed the pad down. "We will never agree to this." "Then the broadcast continue," Chenwei said simply. "And your fleet stays powered down. And your supply convoys remain captured and..." She paused for effect. "Phase 3 begins." "Phase 3? Multiple voices asked at once. "We've been very restrained so far," Chenwei explained. "No casualties, no destroyed ships, no permanent damage. Phase 3 changes that. You have 1 hour to decide." Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in a command center that had taken 5 years to build, President Martinez stood before a wall of screens. Each one showed different aspects of Operation Honeypot. Supply convoy captures disabled Zarathi ships, the Galactic Council Hall where chaos still reigned. 15 minutes until the deadline, Admiral Singh reported. He stood beside her, his uniform crisp despite having been underground for 2 years. "Should we prepare Phase 3? Martinez studied the screens. "What's the status of our mining fleet?" "All vessels report ready. They've surrounded the disabled Zarathi ships but are maintaining safe distance. The crews don't even know we're there. Their external sensors are down. Good. I want this to end without bloodshed if possible. She turned to Dr. Harrison, the chief scientist of the project. How's our virus holding up? Harrison grinned. Beautifully. It's adapted to every countermeasure they've tried. The beauty is, it's not really damaging anything. Just putting systems to sleep. When we release it, everything will work perfectly again. If they agree to our terms. They'll agree, Harrison said confidently. They have no choice. On another screen, Chen Wei appeared. She was still on the council station, now in a private communication room. Madam President, Chen Wei said, the council is fracturing. Several species are pressuring Krex to accept our terms. They're afraid of what Phase 3 might be. Let them wonder, Martinez replied. Fear of the unknown is more powerful than any threat we could make. Back in the council hall, Krexit stood isolated at his podium. His own allies had distanced themselves, literally stepping back from the Zarathi section. The shame of his failure was already spreading through the galaxy, on those same open channels Earth was using to broadcast Zarathi secrets. The speaker chimed for attention. Commander Krext, 10 minutes remain. What is your decision? This is extortion, Krext protested. They cannot. He was interrupted by his aide, who had managed to receive a civilian communication from the Zarathi homeworld. The aide's shell had turned completely white with fear. Commander, the aide whispered, though everyone heard him in the silent hall. 3 of our client species have declared independence. They say if Earth could defeat us with mining ships and holograms, we cannot protect them. The news rippled through the hall. The Zarathi Empire was already crumbling, not from external attack but from the simple revelation that they were not invincible. The Altarian delegate spoke up. Commander, accept Earth's terms. Your empire can survive this embarrassment. It cannot survive a war against an enemy that has already proven superior. Superior? Krext's voice cracked. They hid underground like cowards. They won without firing a shot, the synthesis corrected. That is not cowardice. That is efficiency. On the display, images began appearing, mining vessels, thousands of them, emerging from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Mars released a fleet from beneath its polar ice caps. Jupiter's moons revealed hangars carved into solid rock. Even Earth's moon split open in places, ships pouring out like insects from a nest. 5 minutes, Chen Wei's voice announced through the communication system. Krext looked at the images of his powerless fleet, at his crumbling empire, at the other species watching him with mixtures of pity and contempt. His 4 eyes closed in defeat. We accept Earth's terms, he said quietly. Louder, please, Chen Wei's voice requested. For the official record, the Zarathi Empire accepts Earth's terms, Krext shouted, his anger finally breaking through. We accept your treaty. Now release our ships. There was a pause. Then, throughout the hall, every dead screen and panel flared back to life. Communication channels opened. The virus vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Krext's communication panel immediately flooded with messages from his fleet. Confused messages, frightened ones, all reporting the same thing. Their systems were working again, but they were surrounded by small Earth vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Chen Wei entered the hall in person, walking calmly to the center. She carried a formal treaty pad, the kind used for official council business. Commander Krexit, she said formally, if you would sign the treaty, we can end this unfortunate conflict. Krex descended from his podium, his movements slow and defeated. He took the pad, pressed his claw to it, and handed it back. The action felt like surrender because it was. The treaty is signed, Chen Wei announced. Earth formally ends all hostilities with the Zarathi Empire. Your fleet is free to leave our system. The broadcasts of your military specifications will cease immediately. Your captured supply convoys will be released once your fleet passes Mars orbit. She turned to the speaker, and we would like to formally reapply for membership in the Galactic Council. The speaker's crystals rang with something that might have been amusement. After all this, you still want to join us? Of course, Chen Wei replied. We never wanted conflict. We wanted equals. The Zarathi attack, while unfortunate, gave us the opportunity to prove we belong here. You humiliated a founding member of this council, the Altarian delegate pointed out. We defended ourselves, Chen Wei corrected, and we did so without taking a single life. Every Zarathi soldier is alive. Every ship is intact. We could have destroyed them all while they slept. We chose not to. She looked around the hall. That is what Earth offers the Council. Strength with restraint. Innovation with wisdom. We are no longer the primitive species you rejected. The Kree delegate spoke up. I motion to vote on Earth's membership immediately. Seconded. The Vegan Confederacy added. The speaker chimed thoughtfully. This is highly irregular. Normally, membership reviews take years. Nothing about this situation is normal, the synthesis pointed out. Earth has demonstrated technological capability, military restraint, and diplomatic acumen. They meet all requirements. A vote was called. One by one, species cast their decisions. Many who had been ready to divide Earth's resources now voted for membership. The final tally was overwhelming. 42 in favor, 3 against, 5 abstaining. The 3 against were the Zarathi and 2 of their remaining client species. Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Council, the speaker announced. Ambassador Chen Wei, your species is now under the protection and bound by the laws of this body. Chen Wei bowed. We are honored. And as our first act as members, we would like to share something with the Council. She activated the display again. This time, it showed technical schematics and scientific data. During our 3 years of preparation, we developed several innovations. Improved holographic technology, obviously, but also enhanced food production for underground environments, advanced recycling systems, and medical techniques for dealing with long-term isolation. She smiled. We offer all of this freely to Council members. No charge, no conditions. Consider it our membership gift. The gesture stunned the hall. Species that developed new technologies usually guarded them jealously, trading them for massive profits. Earth was simply giving them away. Why? The Droof representative asked. Because isolation taught us something, Chen Wei explained. We are stronger together. The Zarathi thought they were strong because they conquered, but true strength comes from cooperation. She looked at Krext. Commander, your empire has transport technology we could benefit from. We have agricultural techniques that could help feed your colonies. Perhaps once wounds heal, we could trade. Peacefully. Krext's shell rippled with conflicting emotions. This human, who had just orchestrated his complete defeat, was offering partnership. It went against everything his warrior culture believed. Before he could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Not attack alarms, but proximity warnings. What now? The speaker demanded. On the display, space around the council station began to shimmer. Ships appeared, but not military vessels. These were passenger transports, cargo haulers, mining vessels. Hundreds of them, all bearing Earth registration. Chen Wei smiled. Ah, that would be our civilians. Now that the conflict is over, they're eager to meet the galaxy. I believe the first ships are carrying tourists, traders, and researchers. We have 50 years of isolation to make up for. The implications were staggering. Earth had not just survived and won. They were ready to explode into galactic society, bringing their innovation, their unpredictability, and their unsettling ability to turn any situation to their advantage. We have restaurants that want to serve alien cuisine, Chen Wei continued. Musicians who want to learn galactic songs. Scientists who want to collaborate on research. Children who want to see other worlds. She paused, her expression becoming serious. But we also have a military that has spent 3 years learning how to defeat the galaxy's best warriors without killing them. We hope to be friends with all of you, but we are prepared for those who would be our enemies. The double message was clear. Earth came in peace, but they were more than capable of war. As the council session ended and delegates scattered to report to their governments, Chen Wei stood alone with Krext for a moment. You planned all of this, Krext said. It was not a question. We planned for many possibilities, Chen Wei admitted. Your attack was actually one of our preferred scenarios. It let us reveal our capabilities while maintaining moral high ground. And if we had not attacked, Chen Wei shrugged, we would have eventually revealed ourselves anyway. 6 months had passed since the day Earth refused to fall. Chen Wei stood in New Geneva, the first above-ground city to be fully reconstructed. The real New Geneva, not holograms and empty buildings. Children played in parks that had been empty for 3 years. Markets sold food from a dozen different worlds. The sky, no longer hidden by false fire, shone bright blue. Ambassador, a voice called. She turned to see Commander Krext approaching. His shell had regained its healthy purple-green sheen, though he moved with less arrogance than before. Commander, she greeted him. How is the cultural exchange program? Crext's mandibles clicked, and what she had learned was amusement. Your tourists are exhausting. They want to see everything, learn everything, taste everything. One group asked to visit our military academies to learn about tactics. They were taking notes. Chenwei smiled. We're curious people. It's how we learn. They walked together through the city. Around them, humans and aliens mingled freely. A vegan Confederacy trader sold crystalline fruits to curious humans. A group of click engineers discussed construction techniques with human builders. Even a few Zerathi soldiers, part of the exchange program, stood guard at the Earth Galactic Embassy. Your President Martinez invited me here, Krext said. She said there was something important to discuss. There is, Chenwei confirmed. Follow me. She led him to an unmarked building near the city center. Inside, they descended in an elevator that went much deeper than Krext expected. They emerged in a vast underground chamber filled with screens, computers, and busy humans. President Martinez waited for them, along with Admiral Singh and Dr. Harrison. Commander Krext, Martinez greeted him. Thank you for coming. We have something to show you. She gestured to the main screen. It displayed a star map, but not of local space. This showed a region far beyond Council territory. What is this? Krext asked. The real threat, Martinez replied. During our years of isolation, while we prepared for possible invasion, our deep space telescopes detected something. Ships, Commander. Thousands of them. Moving toward Council space from beyond the galactic rim. Krext's four eyes widened. Unknown ships? How long until they arrive? At their current speed, approximately 18 months, Admiral Singh answered. But that's not the concerning part. The display zoomed in on one of the unknown vessels. It was massive, larger than any Council ship, and its design was completely alien. No smooth curves or angular efficiency. It looked organic, grown rather than built. We've been monitoring their communications, Dr. Harrison explained. It took months to decode, but we managed it. They call themselves the Devourers, and they're not coming to trade or negotiate. Martinez touched a control and an audio file played. The sounds were harsh, grinding, barely recognizable as language even with translation. Harvest approaches. Feeding grounds identified. Resistance irrelevant. Consumption begins soon. The room fell silent. You knew about this during our conflict? Krext asked. We suspected, Chenwei admitted. We confirmed it 3 months ago. That's why we were so eager to end hostilities quickly and join the Council. We could have mentioned this during the conflict, Martinez added. Used it as leverage. But that would have created panic, and we needed the Council united, not fractured. Krext had studied the display. His military mind was already calculating odds, strategies, requirements. The Council needs to know immediately. Agreed, Martinez said. But we wanted to tell you first. Why? Because the Zerathi Empire has the largest military in Council space, Admiral Singh explained. Even after our conflict, you still have 10,000 ships. We have mining vessels and tricks, but against a real invasion, we need real warships. And, Chenwei added, because we need someone the Council will believe. If Earth announces this threat, some will think it's another deception. If the Zerathi Empire confirms it, they'll listen. Krext's shell shifted colors as he processed this. You're proposing an alliance. Earth and Zerathi leading the defense. More than that, Martinez said. She gestured and the display changed. It showed technical specifications, ship designs, battle plans. During our 3 years underground, we didn't just prepare for your invasion. We prepared for any invasion. We have strategies, technologies, ideas, but we need resources and ships to implement them. She pointed to one particular design. Hybrid vessels. Earth innovation combined with the Zerathi firepower. Your shields are virus technology. Your weapons are targeting systems. Your hulls are mining lasers repurposed for combat. It would be powerful, Krext admitted. But my people still resent Earth for our humiliation. Then give them a chance for redemption, Chenwei suggested. Not as conquerors, but as protectors. The Zerathi Empire leading the defense of the galaxy. With Earth as your partner, history will remember you not for losing to us, but for standing with us against a true threat. Krext was quiet for a long moment. Then his mandibles clicked decisively. Show me everything. Every scan, every communication intercept, every strategic projection. For the next 3 hours, they shared all their intelligence. The Devourers were worse than anyone could have imagined. They had consumed 12 star systems already, stripping them of all life, all resources, leaving nothing but empty space. They're locusts, Harrison explained, but locusts with technology beyond ours. Their ships aren't just transports. They're processing plants. They consume entire worlds and convert them to energy and raw materials. How do we fight something like that? Krext asked. The same way we fought you, Chen Wei said. By being unpredictable. By using their strength against them. By working together. She brought up another display. The Council has 53 member species. Each has unique technologies, capabilities, perspectives. The Vegan Confederacy's biological weapons, the Synthesis's computing power, the Kree's stealth technology. Separate, we're meals for the Devourers. Together we might surprise them. Like you surprised us, Krext said. There was respect in his voice now. Exactly, Martinez confirmed. But this time the stakes are everyone's survival. Krext stood. I need to return to my ship immediately. High Command must see this data. If what you show is true, we have very little time. 17 months and 12 days, Admiral Singh corrected. We've been counting. As Krexit turned to leave, he paused. That virus you used on our fleet. Could it work on the Devourer ships? Unknown, Harrison admitted. Their technology is too different. But we're working on variations. Biological viruses, quantum viruses, even mimetic viruses that target their communication systems. Keep working, Krexit said, and send us everything you develop. No secrets between us this time. After he left, Martinez turned to her team. Think he'll convince them? He has to, Chen Wei said. The alternative is too terrible. 2 weeks later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Krexit stood at the central podium, but this time Chen Wei stood beside him. The symbolism was intentional and powerful, former enemies now united. Members of the Council, Krext began. Earth and Zarathi bring you dire news. A threat approaches from beyond our space. We call them the Devourers. The evidence was presented systematically. Earth's long-range scans, communication intercepts, trajectory analyses. The Council's mood shifted from skepticism to concern to genuine fear. How long do we have? The speaker asked. 17 months, Chen Wei answered. But we need every day of that time to prepare. Prepare how? The Altarian delegate demanded. If these Devourers have consumed 12 systems, what chance do we have? Chen Wei smiled. It was the same smile she had worn when revealing Earth's survival. I'm glad you asked. President Martinez and Commander Krext have been working on something. We call it the Unity Protocol. The display lit up with the most ambitious military project in galactic history. Joint fleets, shared technologies, coordinated defenses spanning dozens of systems. Every species contributes what they do best, Chen Wei explained. Zarathi military might, Earth innovation, synthesis computing, vegan biological research, Kree stealth systems. We stop fighting each other and start fighting together. Impossible, someone called out. The logistics alone are complex but manageable, the synthesis interrupted. I have run the calculations. With proper coordination, it can be done. Who would lead such an alliance? The Droof representative asked. Joint Command, Krext said. Zarathi military experience and Earth strategic innovation. We have already begun integrating our command structures. The species that just fought each other? The Altarian delegate said skeptically. The species that best understand each other's capabilities, Chen Wei corrected. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses better than any other pairing. The debate raged for hours. Some species wanted to flee, to evacuate beyond the Devourer's path. Others wanted to negotiate, to offer tribute. But gradually, as Earth and Zarathi presented solution after solution, contingency after contingency, the Council began to believe. We survive the Zarathi by thinking ahead, Chen Wei said in closing. We can survive the Devourers the same way. But only if we work together. Only if we start now. The vote was unanimous. The Unity Protocol was approved. As the Council dispersed to begin preparations, Chen Wei found herself again standing with Krext. 17 months, he said. Will it be enough? It has to be, Chen Wei replied.